College basketball experience bracketology episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Networks presented by WinBet. WinBet is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same game parlays to live in-game odds, WinBet is what you need to win. Sign up today. Bet $100. Get $100 free bet at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. State restrictions apply. We're also brought to you by SGPN's Big Game Squares contest. Yeah, I'm talking about the Super Bowl, $1,000 prize pool and completely free to enter. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/squares to enter today.
Hey, what's up, you degenerate gamblers? This is Bill Burr, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, baby.
Yes. Welcome to the college basketball experience bracketology episode. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, well, my name is Kobe Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
Oh, you know it's the right time of year to start breaking out the brackets, figuring shit out, highlighting teams, deleting teams. You know, just a lot of the good old fun. This is what this episode's about. If you're thinking this is the picks episode, nope, that's going to happen in about, I don't know, hour or so. We will have you covered. Look, I mean, we're already talking. We got Chad Graham talking about the dirty dogs that me and Moneyline Mac are with Chicago State. Hey, maybe you never know. They're getting hot at the right time. Maybe they'll be on this bracketology thing come March. We got to figure it all out. But yeah, for a lot of the picks episode where we recap, we go through every game. We talk about tomorrow's great slate of college basketball games. That will be occurring in about an hour and change on a different episode. But this one is all about bracketology. I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for former video coordinator for Bob Huggins and Frank Martin, host of the Ryan and Rush Show, host of the NFL Gambling Podcast. Give it up for Ryan McIntyre. How you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. It's the season to be jolly. Bracketology, let's go, man.
That's what I'm saying. These are the real holidays, all right? This is the real holidays, baby. We are also joined by, look, there's a guy behind the scenes number crunching, all right? He's got his own algorithms and shit going on. I just picture that gif of Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where he's got like a bunch of shit up on the board. You know, and by the way, you can be watching this on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience, but give it up for the host of the college baseball experience, behind the scenes man on the college football experience, college basketball experience, and even the Sports Gambling Podcast Network and the MLB Gambling Podcast. Give it up for Noah Bieniek. How you doing, brother?
How's it going, guys? This is literally like my favorite topic in sports to talk about. Nothing gets me going like a good old bracket. Nothing's more American than a good old bracket. I highly recommend all listeners on podcast version of this to tune into the YouTube because it's going to be more visually appealing. We have a graphic designer in the background, Cameron Kerr, who did an amazing job with some of the graphics that we're going to be showing today.
Great fucking guy. Shout out to Cameron. And yes,
we've got a couple of fire graphics to load up and just all of it. We're getting better and better. This is the first episode of it. I've been sick. So I've been putting out bracketologies for the last 2 weeks, but first episode, I'm happy to be talking about it.
Oh, fuck yeah. And you're right. Nothing more American than a bracket. I think if you go back throughout history, I believe it was George Washington who defeated the British with the bracket. He used that as part of his
we killed Osama bin Laden with a bracket too, right?
I heard rumors. Hasn't been confirmed yet. They might have sank that in the ocean as well. I mean, there's nothing more American, in my opinion, than a nice, clean, fresh bracket. So, Noah, you've been behind the scenes really keeping track of it. Me and Moneyline Mac just get here cracking beers, doing shots, talking games every night. We love college basketball. We're paying attention to it, but you're really behind the scenes, diving into who should be the top seed, trying to come up with this great thing that we got here, like every other platform has with some type of bracketology. And let's just start things off with the first region and see, what stands out to all of us. And we're going to, ask you questions, Noah, basically saying, hey, explain yourself here. Who do we think could be a live dog here? Who do and then we'll break into like, do we think this team would be misseeded? What big games do they have coming up potentially to change perhaps seeding or get into the big dance? So let's start off with a bang and go right into this bracket. Shout out to the chat. The chat is rocking. And well, that's not what I wanted to do.
There you go.
No,
there we go.
Yeah,
there we go. Get rid of the banner.
There we go. Me and technology went away a long time ago. I still play Tecmo
Change
Super
your
Bowl.
Angle in the office.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah,
look at that. Look at that.
Look at that stuff. High tech. Again, YouTube, baby.
I'll see you at the finish line. Let's go. Okay, so the number 1 overall seed currently, the Purdue Boilermakers, boiler up, I should say. Boil up, whatever the fuck. They're the number 1 seed, it seems like, in everyone's bracket. So that shouldn't be too big of a surprise right now. But I want to ask you guys, do you think, say in 2 months or I don't know, 40 days, will Purdue be the number 1 seed in your opinion? Mac, let's start with you.
I actually think they will. I think that they are primed for the regular season. Very good offensively. They have the player of the year in Zach Edey, the Canadian version of Yao Ming. He's dominant. I mean, NC Nick puts out a graphic every single night of who the big man on campus is. I feel like Edey's gotten it like 4 out of the last 10 days. So I think they will end up as the number 1 overall seed. But as we all know, I think it's a prime spot to fade them once again in March.
Yeah, I mean, we've never. I can't recall them being the 1 seed overall, maybe ever. I know they had with Big Dog Robinson, back in the day, Quanzo Martin and stuff. They were pretty nasty, but I don't think they were the number 1 seed. Could be wrong. And Kenneth, I agree with you in that statement with Kent State. But yeah, so Purdue at the 1 seed here. We have the 16 seed being Southeast Louisiana / Maryland Eastern Shore, and that's one thing that jumped out to me early. Well, first off, I think that would be a phenomenal Tuesday Wednesday game. I think we saw this with St. Peter's. I feel like the 15 and 16 seeds are better than ever these days. Like last year, and it's going to continue to, because normally Southeast Louisiana, I feel like, if that was that team getting in there or I feel like they wouldn't be very good, but they could be a live dog even against Purdue. I know that obviously the height would be terrible, but or a terrible matchup, but I just feel like Maryland Eastern Shore and Southeast Louisiana as 16 seeds, probably better than a lot of the 16 seeds we've seen in years past. At the 2 spot, you would have Kansas State against Eastern Washington. Don't look now, but Eastern Washington's only won like fucking 12 straight games or something. Then you have at the 3 spot, Virginia. So you would have Virginia taking on 14 seed Furman. You never know with Virginia. You could lose that game. You could really lose that game. Then you would have the 4 seed TCU against Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns. Wait, where the Raging Cajuns, you're outright Sun Belt.
That's the Sun Belt representative right now. They have the win over Southern Miss head to head, so they have that tiebreaker. Big game. We'll talk about these more later. Southern Miss goes to Troy on February 2nd. Southern Miss being tied for first. That's a big game on the road that they should want to win there.
Yeah. Then you have at the 5 seed Illinois taking on a 12 seed Charleston. Wow. Charleston, obviously had the biggest winning streak in America before someone fucked with Noah Bieniek.
For the record, that was like 3 years ago, but I mean, it happened on that day.
Yeah, well, we've been waiting for that moment. All right, it all led to that. All right.
Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story, Noah.
Exactly. 6 seed UConn. Well, let's talk about that for a second. Oh no, let me just rattle off the rest. 6 UConn. They would be taking on 11 seed USC, the Trojans of Southern California. And then 7 seed San Diego State against Arkansas. We saw that in Maui. And San Diego State should have won, and Arkansas ended up getting the win. And then 8-9 would be Oklahoma and Pitt, and that's fun because you have the battle of Jeff Capel schools. Let's Mac, what jumps out to you when you look at the first bracket here? Let's stick it to Bieniek here. What I mean, TCU is a 4 seed. Get the fuck out.
Disrespect, man. I mean, they're dealing with injuries right now, so this kind of goes back to like a team like Creighton. How long will Mike Miles and TCU be out? And how did they play without him? Eddie Lampkin banged up as well. But I mean, I think TCU will be a higher seed than higher than a 4 seed come March.
I'm a bit nervous for them over the next couple of weeks when they're battling, these injuries, because then they really could drop, and it's going to be something to really pay attention to. I know they got West Virginia on deck. I actually we'll talk about that game later tonight, but that one jumps out to me as a bit surprising at the moment. UConn at the 6 seed. Can we talk about, this was a team everyone was going to say might be the first overall seed in the tournament via Christmas. And what do you make of, do you think when it's all said and done, 5 weeks from now, whatever, UConn will be higher than a 6 seed, Mac?
Yes. I think UConn's actually going to turn it around. And it's weird because the advanced metrics absolutely still love UConn. I think they just hit a little bit of a wall in January, and I think they are going to turn it around in February. Their schedule does lighten up a little bit here with the DePaul, Georgetowns of the world, and they played DePaul twice. So I think a third of their season left is DePaul and Georgetown. So some room to make some hay, I think.
An interesting point by Mac there is that predictive metrics, very little, if at all, were taken into account into creating these brackets. This bracket was created if the season were to end today. The way we do it with the college experience, kind of like the database football rankings, when we view it, nothing predictive, no assumptions are made. It's based on what you've done with your resume and who you've played. And from what it looks like, UConn's ranked 6th in KenPom, but they have a loss to DePaul, and that just doesn't add up.
and by the way, these will be coming out every Monday, folks. So stay tuned.
Yeah. Not a loss to DePaul. That's Xavier. Sorry, they have a loss to St. John's at home. That's their big loss.
Yeah. So I mean, the UConn one jumps out. San Diego State as a 7 seed, they're in the top 25. Is that a bit surprising to you guys?
The thing with San Diego State, and we see it with a few other teams as well, is another team that hasn't really won the big games that they've played in, but playing in the big games and keeping those games relatively close helps them out in the predictives. But they have 2 quad 1 wins. They're 2-4, but overall against quality competition, they're 6-4, and their resume does not have a damaging loss. So that's kind of what sets them sort of in the middle of the pack. 1 quality win would shoot them up probably to a 5 seed.
What's the one upset that you think, you know which one that I think would be very interesting? And I know everyone's going to say Charleston, Illinois. I think Furman, Virginia would be the one that would be really, really interesting. I don't know, like even USC, UConn's weird. I don't trust Hurley in the tournament. Okay, let's hop over to the next one. Unless do you guys want to talk about any other spots in this one?
Real quick, and we will get to obviously when the tournament gets here, is don't fall in love with the public dog, as they say. Everybody would be on Charleston in this, so just get that on your radars. I know we're still a month and a half away, but when we get there, beware of the public dog in March Madness. They rarely ever come through.
Yeah, and once again, highly recommend to watch on YouTube, youtube.com/thecollegeexperience, because we even have the odds there. Cameron Kerr did a great job there, and Noah
Odds
Bieniek
for them
as well.
to make to the Final Four. So
yeah.
And then in saying that by Mac, I commented on our official post on Twitter, and I said I'm picking every 12 seed. So I put me in the public conversation because I would just be taking Charleston there.
Let's just play it out right now. I know this is getting way ahead of ourselves, but who would you have coming out?
This is what's fun though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Who would you have Purdue beats, let's say, Maryland Eastern Shore or SELA. Then I would have them playing Oklahoma.
Call me a chalk-eating weasel. I
that?
like Purdue to come out of the whole region. I think Purdue is one of the most complete teams in basketball right now. That's obviously why they're the number 1 seed. But when you look at last year, they had way more talent. They had Travion Williams, and they also had Jaden Ivey on this team. But they didn't really play defense. Ivey kind of got lost on the defensive side of the ball. This year, you have 2 freshman guards. Everybody's talking about they're not experienced, but the one thing that they do is play defense because they're still young and they're still worried about, I guess, playing time, and they're really bought into the system, and they know their roles. They know their identity. Last year, there was Travion Williams and Zach Edey. There wasn't one big man, and then you also had a ball-dominant point guard. This year, you know where the ball is going. It's going down low to Zach Edey. That's the identity. I love Purdue this year.
I worry about you make good points, but to me, that was some of the worst coaching with Jaden Ivey I've ever fucking seen. All right, they have no business losing to St. Peter's. That was absolutely terrible coaching, and I worry about that in the NCAA. And I thought the same with Carson Edwards and that Purdue team when they played Virginia.
And Colby, that's exactly what I was thinking about. Is the game that you talked about with Carson Edwards? That game was in Louisville, and I'm looking at a potential 1 versus 3 again, Purdue, Virginia. Now, I don't think that. I actually would go TCU K-State with my Big 12 homer bias, shocker. But I
agree.
It's unique if it is a rematch though at the same site of the crime. 5 years ago when Virginia stole that game from Purdue.
Yeah, no, and I agree. I think I would go TCU to beat Purdue. I actually think if it was Oklahoma they played second, I would watch out because I think Oklahoma would be able to give them a run for their money. But after that, I do think I'll tell you what would be very interesting would be TCU Illinois, because I could see TCU getting upset by Illinois, especially now you have this situation where injuries are starting to play out. So when they're probably going to be getting healthy right around March, but that can also throw off your rhythm.
I'd love to see Lampkin versus Edey.
that would be
a match.
Yeah,
just eat it up.
I think K-State would probably come out of the bottom side of this bracket, but I would be a little nervous about Arkansas getting healthier. San Diego State's still I still feel like they've had some injuries this year, and they haven't had the same roster a lot of times. Even the whole UConn Virginia thing, it would be tricky.
Arkansas is an interesting team to seed right now, since you brought them up. Right now they do not have Nick Smith or Trevon Brazile, and Brazil's confirmed out for the year. Nick Smith, we don't know what's going on there. I somewhat think that they're kind of hiding that from the public, that he might not want to come back in general. He might just play it out and then just go into the NBA draft. But Arkansas is going to say, hey, we're not going to come out with that because that's going to really hurt our seeding, because they don't get that excuse to say, hey, we lost these games without Nick Smith here in that last month, because they've really struggled.
What's going on? If he's healthy, come on, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean?
Load management, all that bullshit. Yeah.
If that's reality, I don't know that that's real, but yeah. Okay. Let's move to the other side of this one though. Let's go to the second side of this what is that? Wait, we're jumping around here. Yeah. Okay. So the Midwest region in Kansas City, Missouri, which would have Alabama. So they're your 2 seed, right, Noah?
Yes. They're the number 2 overall seed.
Did that have any impact on what happened on Saturday?
Not much at all. Really, they have a pretty clean record. They don't have a bad loss in my eyes. That Oklahoma loss was on the road. It went down as a quad 1 game. They're 6-3 in quad 1 games, and they have maybe the best resume in the country. They're 11-3 in quad 1, quad 2 games. So Bama really did not get hurt at all with a bad Oklahoma loss. It's just there's a couple other teams that don't have as many quality wins or have a little bit of a black eye with one bad loss in the case of Houston below Alabama.
So right now, if you're not watching on YouTube, Alabama's the 1 seed in the next region here in the Midwest. UNC Asheville and Drew Pember are the 16. Watch out.
Yeah.
They beat UCF at UCF. The 2 seed is Baylor, and I can't believe the 15 seed. We're gonna have to talk about this one a lot, but Southern Illinois, the Salukis at the 15 spot. At the 14 spot, or I'm sorry, at the 3 spot, you have UCLA taking on 14 seed Vermont. At the 4 spot, you have Gonzaga taking on Utah Valley. And at the 5 spot, you have Iowa taking on the 12 seed Oral Roberts. A-Smith versus Iowa. Whoa. Then you also have Indiana at the 6 seed against the winner of the 11 seed, Mississippi State and North Carolina in the play-in game. That would be a fantastic game. I give me Carolina. Then you have the 7-10 NC State, Boise State. Is that Boise without right? Correct?
Sorry, what Boise State?
Boise State because San Diego State's the winner in the Mountain West, correct? Yeah, that's what it is.
Yes.
Then you have what is the 8-9 Maryland and Miami? I guess not really.
It's a rematch.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So breaking down this bracket, the first thing that I'm going to jump to is how the fuck is Southern Illinois getting in outright, or are they the MVC winner?
They're the MVC winner. Right now they're leading in the conference, the somewhat tiebreakers as well. So, I mean, that's a whole log jam in itself. So you predictive think metrics also favor them a little bit. So when it was tiebreakers and they haven't really beaten some of the other teams and the head-to-head's not there, that's when I said some very little predictive metric went into it. So
I'm about to say, because I would say like I would be pretty surprised if the MVC winner is getting the 15 seed. Mac, would you?
Yeah, I think they'll be closer to a 14 because there will be upsets in these other tournaments that'll slide everybody up as well. But I mean, this goes back to what we talk about on the main college basketball show is this Missouri Valley Conference race is going to be fascinating because I think you can make a case for 5-6 teams that could all get in and pull an upset in the first round.
And highlight that statement by Mac too is like the 2 or the 3 seeds in the conference tournaments that win. That's what ends up moving Southern Illinois up into a 14, into a 13 seed spot. This is all best case scenario. Who's on top of the conferences? We know there's going to be the conference championship weekend is some of the best basketball, but also it's like heartbreaking to see like some of these powerhouses go down.
That's how you know the real college basketball fans. Look, we all love March Madness, but the conference championship week, that's when
the best week.
That's my favorite week of the whole year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
no doubt. That's the real madness.
Yeah. UNC Asheville is a 16. Holy shit. That's a really good 16 team. And some of the other ones that jump. So Iowa, Oral Roberts, who would you guys take if they played?
Oral Roberts.
I would take ORU too. It's tough, but Iowa's huge. They have Vanover down low. That's really the only position that they have length over or over Iowa. I mean, Iowa's got a really big.
Iowa's just got such a history of shit in the bed in the tournament, though. It'd be hard. You'd be hard pressed to take the Hawkeyes.
I mean, Colby was burned by Iowa last year in this 5-12.
I finally thought this was the year. I was like, everyone's fading them. Everyone's taking the Richmond Spiders. And I was like, man, Richmond's kind of been up and down all year. I could see them laying a lemon. I got burned on that one.
Actually, I might go Iowa there because everybody will pick Oral Roberts. Same logic, and you fade the public
watch out.
dog.
Be careful what you wish for there.
Fran McCaffrey will be complaining about the basketballs again. That was some weak shit. I was like, give me a break, man. You lost to Richmond.
Yeah. Did you weigh those balls before the game started? Now, what jumps out to you as far as, I mean, obviously North Carolina in the play-in games, but so many teams we've seen, or so many times we've seen these play-in teams, whether it was UCLA a few years ago against Michigan State in the play-in, or I think Syracuse made a Final Four run from the play-in spot, and I even think VCU might have been one that was a play-in game as well. Are we a bit surprised? I mean, obviously I know we're surprised as in like they were the preseason number 1 team, but I mean, do we think, my first thought is like, they might actually see, my first thought was like North Carolina's gonna be further in because they always overvalue North Carolina. But then I also think, hey, you give them a play-in game, TV numbers are huge because North Carolina's got a huge fan base.
Might as well throw Kentucky in there. We'll get to them in a little bit.
Man. I was getting ready to say Carolina, Kentucky as your playing game. They're drooling all over that.
God. Oh my God. That would be fantastic. Does anything jump out or be surprised Gonzaga's a 4 and UCLA's a 3?
So I'll jump in and talk about North Carolina in the case that why they're so low. These aren't real metrics that really get taken into account. It's really just based on my field, and the NCAA tournament committee is also going to use them when they create their field as well. North Carolina's 1-5 against teams in the field. They're 0-3 against national seeds. So that's the top 16. Your 1 through 4 seeds in each region that get to basically be the closest, hopefully, like in their region as well. They're 0-4 in those games against tournament teams in neutral or away sites. Their strength of schedule and non-conference strength of schedule is what that got them into the field at 31.
The Charleston games paying off for them.
Yeah. So North Carolina, that might shock a few people, but their best wins really were Michigan and Ohio State on neutral floors, and both of them have not lived up to expectations. Yeah. So and Charleston, which just took a big loss, and it kind of knocked their resume down in the NAT in the net.
Yeah. Mac,
I'm with you, Noah. Yeah, I agree with Noah. North Carolina's overrated. The only reason anybody should be surprised that they're on the bubble is it's just basically, hey, they were number 1 preseason. If you watch North Carolina and see what they've done, their resume isn't very good at all. So, but this is also the same point. Like I'll say, devil's advocate here, that North Carolina went on the run at this point last year. So as of right now, I agree with Noah 100% that Carolina's a bubble team in search of wins, but it was exactly the same scenario last year, and we'll see if they can turn it on again.
And February 1st, Pittsburgh plays at North Carolina. That's a huge bubble game there. If we're talking about,
and they got some injuries. I think Puff Johnson's out right now, but also they have the Duke game. I think the next, is it this Saturday or next Saturday? I forget. Either way,
yes, Duke's this Saturday.
Oh, fantastic! Absolutely fantastic. Let's fucking go.
Duke and UNC this Saturday, and also a big one in the, kind of mid-major, not really mid-major, Gonzaga St. Mary's. That one's huge.
Oh, that one's my number 1 game. I do those rankings. No one knows it behind the scenes every night. Okay, so are we surprised that Gonzaga is behind UCLA? I know I asked that question. Mac, are you surprised at that?
No, because I know Gonzaga has got the win over Alabama, but I think UCLA has been the better team throughout. I know they've lost 2 in a row at Arizona and at USC, but I think they have the better resume overall than Gonzaga.
Yeah, and the big thing that knocked Gonzaga down was a home loss to Loyola Marymount University, or as unprofessionally as we like to call them, Le Pepe Marymount University.
I'm assuming Loyola's a 1 seed on the other side that we haven't looked at yet.
If this was a TCE culture bracket, oh yeah.
Let's play this out though. I mean, my first thought of Southern Illinois would be like one of the best 15 seeds. This is a team that won at Oklahoma State this year. Let's play this out. Bama, Asheville. Okay, let's take Bama. Even though I think that game could be scarier than they imagine.
Entertaining.
Yeah. Maryland, Miami would be. Sign me up for that one. I think Miami's better though. What are you doing?
Miami put it on them earlier in the year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rematch.
Yeah. Iowa, Oral Roberts. I think Max said he's taking Iowa. Fuck you,
Not
Iowa.
a lot of
taking Oral
confidence,
Roberts. Yeah.
I'm on where are you there?
Gonzaga, Utah Valley. That's a fun game. I think Zags would win that though. What are you doing?
I'm going Zags.
The guard play's got to show up because UVU's defense is really good, but I can't pick against Gonzaga. I don't think.
Then you got UCLA, Vermont. You want to talk about tricky, huh? A little tricky. Vermont, I feel like one of these years is really going to do it and like make a deep run. I'd go UCLA. NC State, Boise. Boise are going to win that one. Boise going to win that one. What would you do in that matchup?
Yeah, Boise's winning that one.
Then you got Baylor, Southern Illinois. I think Baylor wins, but watch out. Watch fucking out, because another thing is Southern Illinois is not that far from Kansas City, right? Did some fans from Carbondale making the trip,
and that game's in Des Moines. That's
Des Moines,
Iowa. Oh man, that's a home game. That's a fucking home game. Let's go. I might have to fly over there to that one. Get our boy Stone Labanowitz to go. So who would you have coming out this week? I'm not taking Alabama. You guys know this. I think we cover this every night. Baylor? Are we going Baylor? Are we buying in? You know who I'm taking? I'm taking UCLA. I think UCLA, is the best team there.
I have not quite bought into UCLA yet. I have not seen like a big win from them. Their best wins, I think, are this year against UCLA, or not against Kentucky. And
USC Maryland. The first time, So but that's not a huge win, but yeah,
I need to see him like beat a top tier opponent. For me, it's Baylor here. I think they're really coming on. Their guard play, they're growing. Like Keontae George is turning into one of the best players in the Big 12 there. So I really think that they have some of the best guards in the country, and they're really aggressive on the offensive glass, even though they don't really have size. So that's been a team that's really surprising me as of late, Baylor.
They're surprising me as how fast they're improving, but I think Boise could give them a sneaky little game in the second round there if that worked out that way. Indiana. I feel like we're not talking about Indiana enough here. We would potentially have Indiana, UCLA, blue blood battle. I know every TV exec would say the CBS or the Turner TV execs would be fucking dancing on the ceiling. Indiana, could they make a deep run?
If Trace Jackson Davis keeps playing the way he's playing,
if he keeps dropping 25 and 15 every night. And I swear, when we're creating these, brackets, I'm not choosing like juicy matchups at all. It's just, you have to, there's so many little rules that you have to follow with the conferences, and you can't have them meet in the second round and prefer not to meet until the regional final. So it's like you're plugging and picking different spots, and it's like, Indiana, UCLA, second round. There it is. Some of it.
So basically, the Big 12. The Big 12's altering your bracket.
Oh, it's jacked up. And my favorite storyline of this year with the NCAA tournament is there's only 2 Des Moines sites, and you have Houston, who's not even in the Big 12, but then you have 5 Big 12 teams in the top 10. You have 6 Big 12 teams in the top 16. There's only 2 Des Moines sites, and then you have to send them to either Denver or Birmingham. So it's tough. I'm gonna really eat that up down the stretch here. Yeah. All right. But before we get to the next bracket, want to tell you folks out there that the college basketball experience on the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by WynnBET. WynnBET's now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBET is what you need to win. Sign up today. Bet $100. Get $100 free bet at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. Once again, that's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. State restrictions apply. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions. WynnBET.com. Must be 21 or older. Present of state where WynnBET is available. If you're somebody you know who has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. We're also brought to you by the Big Game Squares contest. Yeah, that's the fucking Super Bowl. That's the Super Bowl, folks. If you just I don't know, if you've been somewhere not paying attention, you know what I mean, not watching football. But yeah, SGPN is giving away $1,000. Yeah. Damn, that's real money. That's cold hard cash, baby. In their Big Game Squares contest, it's completely free to enter. So why would you not enter? All you need to do is follow the Sports Gambling Podcast on Spotify and give them a rating. Then go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/squares for your chance to win a free Big Game Square. Let's fucking go. And I see people already in there talking. New Mexico's winning the Mountain West.
Mountain West tournament's going to be. Oh man, don't get me started. That's going to be phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yeah, that's an interesting talking topic too. Like today is like right now there's three Mountain West teams in the field that I have. Nevada, we'll talk about them in a little bit. They're just on the outside. And then Utah State, they're in the conversation as well on the bubble.
Oh yeah, they got some big games coming up too. We're going to be talking about. All right, let's dive back into the next region here and talk a little East New York City.
Oh yeah, here we go, baby.
Kansas Jayhawks are the 1 seed here. He has them. If you're not watching on YouTube, but we got to explain who they are playing. The 16 is UT Martin or Fairleigh Dickinson. See, that to me is like they did Kansas so much more of a favor than Alabama, which would probably make sense. They would probably really do that. Like
you're telling me that. What are you talking about?
Yeah. If you're telling me I get to play UNC Asheville or UT Martin, come on. I think everybody would be like, give me Martin, give me Fairleigh Dickinson.
The way I did it was UNC Asheville is closer to Birmingham, Alabama than the other sites. So they get, the NCAA tries to limit travel as much as possible. So that is what I thought would happen.
Yeah.
No, it's corrupt, just like the Big 12 and the NCAA. Yeah. He's giving it. Yeah.
What are they giving you, Noah? What they give you, Noah? Huh? They give you some tickets to the Eastern Michigan Eagles season ticket package.
Denver,
huh?
Denver. They gave
Denver. There you go.
Hey, Denver's a site.
It is.
That's true. So Kansas, UT Martin, or the winner of UT Martin and Fairleigh Dickinson. The 2 seed is Tennessee, and the 15 is Siena, the St. Bernards, baby. The 3 seed is Iowa State. The 14 seed is Princeton. Wait, Princeton is ahead of Cornell right now?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes.
I believe actually they're tied and they have a win head to head. I think that's what.
Yes.
Ooh,
yep.
Big Red.
Both are 5-2. Yep.
Big Red freshman is gonna get some revenge. Let's go. Then we have 4 seed Xavier, 13 seed Kent State. Holy shit, that game's amazing. That's the best. That's the best first round game so far that I've seen. Come on,
local.
Yeah,
grab your popcorn.
Sign me up for that one. 5 seed Northwestern. I saw some people say Northwestern a 5 seed. Noah, talk to me about why the Wildcats are a 5 seed.
It's a completely clean resume, and as I'm pulling up their page here, Northwestern, they're 6-5 against teams quad 1, quad 2, and they've played in the Big Ten, so they've gotten some quality wins there. They also are really good on the road this year as well. I'll pull up their record, but that was one thing that I took into account as well. Is like they've performed away from home better than most other teams. 4-1 against quality competition there in quad 1 and quad 2.
Wow, that would be quite the storyline there. So Northwestern taking on Liberty. Wow. Mac, who would you take there?
I think I go the Flamin' Libs, man. I think I
went Liberty too. I took every 12 seed.
Yeah, they've done it before. Richie McKay, they beat Mississippi State with Ben Howland that one year. Darius McGee was there as well. So yeah, I'd go the Libs there.
Well, that's an interesting matchup as well. Kent State will be the public dog, said Rob Donaldson if they were to play. Then we have the 6 seed Rutgers against Clemson. That's already happened. That was a couple years ago. That was a playing game, or not a playing game. That was the first round matchup. That would be intriguing because of that history. I believe it came down to a 1-point game.
COVID year. Yep.
Yeah, that was a fantastic game. And then you have the 7 seed, the Duke Blue Devils taking on Wisconsin. That was a national championship game. 7-8 years ago. That game would be pretty phenomenal. So you have Wisconsin in. Talk to me about why the Badgers should be in.
So Wisconsin's bad stretch of games here came mostly without Tyler Wall. And I think when we talk about like bubble teams, most of the time they get passes on losses without key players. Wins against teams without key players don't get talked about as much. But if you want to, there's many different ways that people like to, value things. Wisconsin's best win as of right now is at Marquette. Their second best win, if you want to go deeper down into that resume, is at Iowa. But at Iowa came without Chris Murray. So if you really want to dig into it, You can poke some holes in the resume, but I think they get some insurance without Tyler Wall for quite a big part of the stretch of this losing streak here. So I think they've lost 6 of 7.
So he's got the Badgers in taking on the Duke Blue Devils in Greensboro. They would never do Duke a favor like that. Then you have Providence, New Mexico. Holy shit! Sign me up for that.
This is fantastic.
Oh man, that would be fantastic right there. That game. This is one of the best games. I'm ready to see that right now. That game would be. I mean, shit. Who do you lean? I could see New Mexico winning that game.
I'm not going to go against Cooley.
Yeah, and if Providence wins, it would set up a rematch of that Sweet 16, Kansas and Providence. Sorry, Fairleigh Dickinson.
Yeah. I mean, what a fucking. This is my favorite bracket right now because.
And it's in the Garden.
I could see. Yeah, you'd have the potential rematch of Kansas Providence last year. Oh, and it's at the Garden too. Then you have. Yeah. I mean, actually, you have the rematch of Rutgers Clemson and also the rematch of Duke Wisconsin. Tennessee, the Vols.
You know they're going to choke.
Should they? I guess there's an argument that they should be a 1 seed.
Let's talk about it. We have a nice little blind resume that our guy Cameron Kerr made for us. Take your pick between these 2 resumes. Who do you think would be the 1 seed between these 2? This is my 4th 1 seed up against Tennessee.
Okay, so 5-0
quad versus, 1 wins.
Yeah, quad 1 opponents. 7-2. 5-0 against.
So quad 1A is elite wins. So you're basically chopping off quad 1 into 2 parts because technically, if you go on the road and you play the 75th ranked team in the net, it counts as a quad 1 win. So you're chopping off that bottom half of the quad 1. That way, there's no cheapies. 5-0 against quality opponents, and they've beaten Tennessee heads up. This team, so
yeah, I'm all over the left one.
Yep.
And
I'm assuming the left one is Arizona. Wow.
Yep. And they beat him head to head.
Yep.
I like this game. I like this game. We should do
everybody has YouTube, baby. YouTube.
Fucking Jeopardy, college basketball Jeopardy. Let's go, or I don't know.
You gotta get some Tecmo music with that thing.
Yeah. I could do that. I got it all right here, man. What else jumps out to you here? Iowa State is a 3 seed taking on Princeton. I mean, who do you like? Okay, are we going chalk and taking Kansas to win this bracket?
I don't know. I think there could be some madness. I think the bottom seeds in this one are really talented, up and down. You look at Kent State could really cause some problems and beat Xavier. Then I favor them over Liberty or Northwestern. They would get into the Sweet 16 for me.
Yeah, and then you could have Iowa State Rutgers, which I think would be fucking interesting. I think that would be very interesting because Rutgers kind of plays that nasty style of defense.
This is a Colby game. It would end 43-40.
Beautiful.
I could see Rutgers getting out of this region at the Garden, home court. That place would be absolutely rocking.
That's true. That is so true.
If this could draw, I feel like this is a year that Kansas gets picked off because I don't think they're as good as they were last year. And the letdown from the national championship. I'm looking at Xavier though as a 4 seed. I think they could make a run, kind of a dark horse.
Yeah.
Tennessee's going to get picked off.
I actually think you're a Kent State fan, you got to hate if you were drawing Xavier because Xavier's so experienced.
You love it and you hate it because it's like the little brother angle that you want to rock, but it's Xavier.
Yeah.
But Mac, you're not buying into the fade Big Ten angle. You're taking the 6 seed Big Ten team to get through.
Rutgers might be the only Big Ten team I like. Them and Sparty.
Right. Well, and you got to love the New York City angle, right?
Yeah. I sign me up for Xavier, Rutgers, Elite 8. Let's go.
Oh man, I think if I'm forced to go there, if I'm forced to say who's winning this bracket, this is where my whole bracket goes to shit. If I had to guess,
there's always one.
Yeah, I'm guessing. Yeah, give me Iowa State to come out of that. Yeah. But I don't feel great about that one. I feel like this every game would be compelling.
This is the busted up bracket.
Who's misseeded here? Besides Wisconsin.
Oh man.
I think Wisconsin's the one that.
So Wisconsin's misseeded, and Clemson technically wouldn't even be in the NCAA tournament field if they weren't winning the ACC right now.
It's crazy.
That's wild. That's fucking insane.
They've got two quad 4 losses against Loyola Chicago and South Carolina. They would not be in this field.
That's wild. That's absolutely
I think Kent State's
wild.
a little low, Noah. I think Kent State should be on the 12 or 11.
So wait, let's play this out.
Clemson ruins that. They would be at 12.
Let's play this out. If Clemson wins the regular season in the ACC, will that be enough to get them outright? Because
it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it kind of works. It kind of works like the college football playoff, where the 2-team SEC winner should get in over the one loss that lost to them. But it's the SEC.
Don't try to make sense of that.
I was getting ready to say, if there's a day where we see the ACC regular season champ not make the tournament, oh my God, that would be something.
And
that would
dude,
be
I'm on them
insane,
too.
right?
I have a future on them plus 1,500 to win the thing. They have one more quality game left, and it's against Virginia. Hold on, I'm going to pull that game up because that is like their season. They have to circle that date and make sure they beat Virginia.
Dude, they still got to play at Carolina. They're not going to beat Carolina. They're not. They better get healthy. They better get healthy. Yeah, they never win there. All right, let's switch over.
The second to final game, Tuesday, February 28th. They're at Virginia. That's the big one. At North Carolina as well.
Yeah. Let's hop on over to the final bracket here. What the West region in Vegas, baby, Vegas. You have the 1 seed Arizona taking on 16 Southern. I think they might have played this year. If not, they got
pull that up real quick.
They might have played this year.
I can't recall off the top of my head.
Got the 2 seed
95-78 win by Arizona.
There you go. So we got proof there that would be another blowout probably. 2 seed Houston taking on the Milwaukee Panthers. What a turnaround the Panthers are doing. You have the 3 seed Texas taking on 14 Colgate. One of these fucking years, Colgate's gonna get somebody.
Has to.
I don't know if it's this year. That's a tough draw for them. 4 seed Marquette taking on 13 seed Santa Barbara. The Gauchos. That would be a sneaky game. I watched that whole Hawaii UC Santa Barbara game the other night. I'm kind of impressed with the Gauchos. Me
too. Yep.
That would be a sneaky game right there for Shaka. 5 seed Missouri, 12 seed St. Louis. Give me Dennis Gates to get the dub there. 6 seed FAU, the Owls, Florida Atlantic. Who will be playing the winner of the 11 seed Michigan State and Seton Hall? Seton Hall making the NCAA tournament. Shaheen Holloway saying, "Hey, this is my fucking tournament now, each and every year."
Yeah. Do you want to take a look at this next blind resume thing?
Yes.
We're talking about
Is this the last team in?
Yep.
Oh yeah, this is fantastic.
Okay, so we got on one side 12-9, then 57th in the net, 57th in resume, 2-5 versus quad 1A. Did I say that correctly?
Yep.
At 3-5 versus quad 1. 1-3 versus quad 2, 8-1 versus quad 3 and 4, 11th in strength of schedule, 34th in non-conference strength against a record of 14-7. So this 14-7 against 12-9. The net 36th ranking, resume 46th, 1-4 though against quad 1A, 1-6 against quad 1 in general, 3-0 though against quad 2, and that's maybe what you like there. And then 10-1 against quad 3 and 4. Straight the schedule's 38th though, dropping them a bit back, and 101st with a non-conference strength of schedule. Okay, Max. So where are you leaning here?
This is a hell of a call right here. I'm gonna go the 12-9 team. I know overall they're not better, but I like the quad 1 wins and the strength of schedule. They almost play a top 10 schedule. Shame on the team that is outside the top 100 in their non-conference strength of schedule. And I'm looking forward to seeing who this is.
I agree. Reveal this thing for us, Noah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no way, no fucking way. Will they put in Seton Hall over Kentucky? So folks, once again, if you're not watching on YouTube, that the Seton Hall was the resume that we liked better over Kentucky. And my apologies, the first time I guess I didn't verbalize that.
He and Holloway dethrones Big Blue again.
All right, let's so 1 seed Arizona, 16 Southern, 2 Houston, Milwaukee, 3 Texas Colgate, 4 Marquette, UC Santa Barbara, 5 Missouri St. Louis, 6 FAU against Michigan State. Seton Hall winner. I think we would all lean Michigan State, correct?
Yep.
Noah says Seton Hall because he's a Michigan fan. Then you have Auburn against Michael Crichton. Crichton has a 10 seed. Holy shit. They were preseason top 10 in a lot of publications. Then you have West Virginia St. Mary's. Wow. How would you feel about drawing the Gales, Mac?
That'd be awful. That'd be like playing a root canal because they play extremely slow, disciplined brand of basketball. They're old veterans. Yeah, man. This is by far the best region.
Yeah, and you sniffed it out too, because so by S curve is what it's called. Is you're trying to match the teams based on conference, and they can't play somebody from another conference. So that's rule number 1, and rule number 2 is the top 4 seeds 1, 2, 3, and 4, based off their true overall ranking 1 through 16 overall. You want to have a nice balance set at 34. That's like traditional bracket rule. This one is at 32, and it values as the toughest quadrant of the 4, which rightfully so is placed upon the 4th overall 1 seed.
Wow. I mean, this would be fantastic. This is really hard. I would say talk about getting Houston and Creighton in the second round. That's a terrible draw. Terrible draw for Houston. I think Creighton might be able to beat Houston, man. I think that's a tough draw. I think that's a good game.
And Creighton kind of rules just like Wisconsin without Kalkbrenner for 3 of those losses. One of them was their only black eye on that resume with a quad 3 loss against BYU without Kalkbrenner. So they're in the field comfortably here as a 10 seed as well.
You know what's crazy is I kind of like the winner of Creighton Houston to come out of this bracket.
I'm with you. The biggest loser is Auburn. Auburn drawing Creighton in the first round.
And imagine that. You beat Creighton and then you got Houston next. Damn. I mean, obviously Texas talent wise could make a run. I would even say, you never count Tom Izzo out. And then you have Marquette, who's played great this year. Who knows? I mean, shit, even if you're Missouri, you might even like that. Missouri, you get St. Louis, then you could get Marquette. I think that's a winnable game for Dennis Gates. Then you get Arizona, which I think that's a winnable game for Missouri. That would be shocking.
This is the bracket that I'm kind of looking at it, and I think I get a little bit wacky. I would have Marquette coming out, and I said this at the beginning of the year. I stand by it. I think a 14 or higher seed gets back into the Sweet 16 this year. I see Colgate doing it. I think Colgate could beat Florida Atlantic or Michigan State and Seton Hall there too.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be very interesting to see who the Raiders get. Yeah, I mean, I watch out for UC Santa Barbara. I could see them giving Marquette a fucking game, dude. That would be fantastic. Let's talk about the bubble.
All right.
Let's talk about who's in and who's not in. Do we have any type of graphic that can apply? That we can talk about here.
We have a first 4 out graphic. I'll mention who got in. In the last 4 buys, we had Creighton, Arkansas, Wisconsin, USC. The last 4 in, aka the first 4 games, were Mississippi State against North Carolina and Michigan State against Seton Hall. So now here is our first 4 out.
See, this is very interesting to me because you have Penny Hardaway and Memphis who get 2 shots at Houston in the final month of the season.
They do.
Yep.
You get Nevada, which I feel like every night has opportunity because the Mountain West is that deep. They could lose every single night.
The Mountain West is deeper than the Pac-12.
And they have San Diego State at home tomorrow night in Reno.
Oh, huge game. Then you have Penn State, who I believe Who are they traveling? Are they traveling to Illinois? Who are they?
They're
traveling
at
Purdue.
Purdue. That's
it's
right.
there
That's
on the
right.
graphic, Colby. Come on.
Oh yeah, I can't read. Did I tell you that, folks? Kentucky at Ole Miss. That should be an easy one there, but I don't know how much that helps them. Does that really help them?
Their fans will want them in the top 10 after that win.
It does not help them because there's more games in their
There's more
final,
risk
yes,
if they lose, right?
Yeah, I'll pull up their schedule here. There's geez, where is Kentucky even at on my page here?
They got Florida on Saturday.
Coming up, they only have one game against Tennessee. They're at home against Tennessee, but that is the one game that could up their resume literally at all. They have two games. They have one game against Mississippi, two games against Florida, a game against Arkansas, who probably is the next best team on this team's schedule upcoming. Then Georgia, Mississippi State, and one game against Auburn. And ending the season again with Arkansas. So there's like a couple of teams that do not really move the needle when you're talking about quality of resume there.
Do you have the next four by chance?
No, we didn't get a next four graphic, but the next four out that
you
I
have it.
listed,
Yeah, you have it though. Yeah.
The next four out that I have is Arizona State, Kramer's Hokies, Virginia Tech, Utah, and the buzzsaw Texas A&M as the 8th team out.
I think that's
Cameron
the
Kerr's team. Yep.
I think I think that's a team we got to watch out for. They're red hot right now. Wow. Okay. Are you surprised by any of those, Mac? That
it's funny.
one team's out and another one's in.
I'm with you. Watch out for the buzzsaw because ever since Christmas when they lost to Wofford, they ran off 10 out of 11. Their only loss was at Kentucky in a tight game. And it's ironic because Buzz is in College Station. The former team that he was with, Kramer's Hokies, were in this exact same situation last year, 2-7 in the ACC and went on a run. They won 2 in a row, beat Duke, and got another one the other night as well. I think they're going to go on a roll too. So 2 teams to watch on that next 4 out.
Good pull, Mac. And for the exact same stats that were listed for the first 4 out teams on that graphic, here's Texas A&M's line: 15-6 overall, 7-1 in the SEC so far, and they have a good schedule coming up that will favor them. And if they get a couple of wins, it'll help out their resume rather than not do much, as Kentucky's case. In the net, they're ranked 42nd. Here's where they have a little bit of trouble, and it's Buzz again. Strength of schedule is 100th. Non-conference strength of schedule is 244th. Their quad 1 and quad 2 record is 4-4, and they have 2 quad 3 losses, one against Wofford and then one that is escaping me right now. But that's what's really burning Texas A&M's resume right now.
Wow. Let me ask you this. Do you only have one Conference USA team in?
Yes.
See, that's a bit surprising to me. I mean, I just feel like that from watching year in and year out, I feel like that conference is way up right now. So how far back would you put like a North Texas? Yeah.
It's because UAB's fallen back.
Yeah. UAB has 5 conference losses.
Yeah.
I gotta find.
But they didn't have Jelly Walker. I thought they're supposed to apply. Hey, your star is out. Put them at, not if you're in the CUSA. Let's cut down to brass tacks. All right. They're gonna say no. They don't make any money for us.
Yeah. So North Texas 63rd in the net. 73rd is UAB at 14-7 overall right now, and then one more Charlotte 96th. All of them count as quality wins right now for UAB and Florida Atlantic.
Talk to me about a team that could be like that's kind of the next couple tiers back, but hey, they'll have opportunity. Whether it's the Oregon Ducks or whether it's maybe the Dayton Flyers or I don't know. I mean, could we get? What about a team like Texas Tech or something? You know what I mean? Like, what would it take?
Texas Tech's got a lot of opportunity there, but again, they seem like the runt of the litter in the Big 12. They would really have to fix that conference record to get in. That's also something like nitty gritty that they look at. If you're somewhere like 3 or 4 games below conference record, that's kind of just like an unwritten rule by the committee that they don't include. I don't really care about it, but I'm just speaking on behalf of what they would probably do. For me here, I would say a team to watch going forward that was on my bubble but didn't even get onto the next 4 out is Utah State. They have plenty of opportunity in the Mountain West. That's the team that could make it a 5-bid league. It gets really interesting down the road here with the Aggies. So
I think they have a huge game coming up too. I think I was just looking, and I think they
playing
have
the Lobos.
Yeah, on Wednesday, I believe, right?
Yep.
I have that written down. February 1st, New Mexico at Utah State. So it's
fantastic.
At home.
Fantastic
game.
And
they get San Diego State at home next Wednesday. So 2 out of the next 3 games at home in front of that great crowd. 2 great opportunities.
So you're talking Utah State. I'm just comparing this. I have Ken Palm here, and I'm looking to see where he has the Aggies.
Rob's got a good point in our chat here. Conference USA easily could have a bid stealer. So like a team other than Florida Atlantic wins that conference, and then Florida Atlantic gets an at-large. That would be the recipe for the Conference USA to get 2 bids there.
Well, and I wonder about the Missouri Valley potentially getting 2 bids too. Where the hell is Utah State? Why am I not seeing Utah State? Let me find this.
I'm with you, Rob, on that other point with Conference USA, because your last 2 champions that have won an NCAA tournament game in North Texas and UAB that won it last year with Jelly Walker getting him healthy. Those 2 teams can go on a run in March. They've been there. They're experienced.
Ken Palm currently, and I agree. Yeah. Ken Palm currently has Utah State 48th, ahead of Missouri, ahead of NC State, ahead of Mississippi State and Seton Hall, who I think we all have in the dance, and the Clemson Tigers, back to your point that you alluded to earlier.
Yeah. The thing with Utah State is they have, like we said, they have opportunity in the Mountain West. They're 0-3 in Quad 1 right now. So just improve on that record and they get in this field.
This is awesome. What about, so Missouri Valley only have 1 too, right?
Yeah, and the thing with Southern Illinois is what hurts their at-large potential. A loss, granted away, but Southern Indiana, another loss, granted away, but Illinois State, and then a loss, another one away, but Northern Iowa. All 3 of those really aren't close to, an okay loss for a mid-major to take and make an argument for an auto bid. So,
Mac, do you think 2 teams?
Bid,
do you think 2 teams from the Missouri Valley should be represented in the NCAA tournament?
I do, but it's not going to happen because it's kind of like what we're talking about with the Mountain West, and then at the high major version Big 12, is they just beat up on one another and they give each other losses. So unfortunately, I think they have about 5 teams I think could go to the NCAA tournament and win a game in Southern Illinois, Belmont, Drake, Bradley, Indiana State, or even Northern Iowa in there the way they're playing, and Murray State. But unfortunately, with the way that they've their resume sit right now, they'll only get 1 bid.
So looking at it right now, it looks like Bradley's, if you're rooting for a 2-bid MVC, you're hoping Bradley cleans up here to finish out the season. They don't have a true bad loss. Their worst loss, I guess, via resume metrics is here at home against Belmont, which Belmont's a top 3 team in that conference. But every other game is away against a relatively good opponent. You want them to make a run and then probably get to the championship game and lose to your MVC team. And Bradley would probably make the best argument for an MVC 2-bid league.
It's interesting comparing. I know, you're doing great work, but I'm looking at the Ken Palm thing, and you see, you have Utah. I mean, we have Utah State. He has Utah State at 48, ahead of those teams I mentioned.
Yeah.
He also has Colorado and Washington State ahead of the likes of Arizona State, ahead of the likes of Texas Tech and Pitt and Michigan and Wisconsin. Is that a bit surprising to you?
Some of it is predictive metric. I didn't take a lot of Ken Palm into account, but Ken Palm, I guess it's right. It doesn't count like the bad losses against Colorado, for example, against Grambling State
or Cal,
or Cal or Oregon State.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's all just some stuff in the resume that didn't get them into the conversation. In Washington State, I'll pull them up real quick.
Because they have the win against Arizona. They have that, and I think that might be saving them a little bit right now. Is that?
And again, it's another loss against Prairie View, so that's a quad 4 loss. And just I guess the record itself, it's 10-13. It's not really a great argument to make as a at-large bid right now either.
True. I'm just spitballing here, looking at those rankings, and I'm surprised. But all right, well, look, we will be back every single Monday doing this. Is there anything else we want to key on before we get out of here?
Just I'll be making, and we'll be posting on Friday, TCE as well, just a midweek update, and then the shows every Monday. And key upcoming games. You want to touch on this?
Sure. We love that.
Yeah. So tonight I wrote it down because we were doing it prior, but Baylor's taking out Texas. The winner of that is likely a 2 seed. Loser doesn't really get punished at all, but they'll probably move down to a 3 seed. Then on January 31st, West Virginia at TCU.
Huge.
It's unlikely, but if the Mountaineers can win at TCU, banged up TCU for what it is.
Yep.
It doesn't get counted at the end of the year if they win and it was without Mike Miles. That would be a huge one, and that would clearly get them out of bubble conversation, I think. Also, January 31st, San Diego State at Nevada, big one. January 31st, Virginia Tech at Miami, both teams on the bubble in the ACC there. January 31st, Texas A&M at Arkansas. So that one's huge for the Buzzsaw there. February 1st, New Mexico at Utah State.
How about Pitt, North Carolina, right? That's got to be on there, right?
Yeah. February 1st, Oklahoma State at Oklahoma. Oklahoma State on the outside
Bedlam.
looking in.
Bedlam, baby. Bubble watch and Bedlam.
You could argue that it's a letdown spot for Oklahoma, or you could argue that it's a revenge spot. Either way.
Well, that's one right now. Oklahoma State's not in, but Oklahoma is. I guess the win over Bama, because that's prior to that. I would say Oklahoma State's look like the better team this year to me than Oklahoma. But
and then the Pitt UNC game, like you mentioned, both ACC teams on the bubble there. February 1st, also Penn State at Purdue. If they can win at Purdue, that one would be huge. That would be the best win in the country at Purdue. That's the number 1 overall team. February 2nd, Florida Atlantic I wrote Florida Atlantic at Florida Atlantic. Hold on. That's not very impressive.
It's at UAB, right?
They're at UAB.
Oh, that game's great. UAB is going to beat them. UAB is going to beat them. If they're healthy, they're going to beat them.
Let's go.
And then February 2nd, Oregon at Arizona. So you're talking about Oregon possibly being a late charging team, Colby. That one would be good for them. February 2nd, Southern Miss at Troy. They're both tied for first, or Southern Miss is tied for first in the Sun Belt, and Troy is feisty as well. So that one's not easy. That's
what's so great about this time of year. If you're really paying attention to college basketball, these are like fucking playoff games. I mean, even a game. I was looking. I see Ken Palm had Loyola Marymount back. You know, they have the win at Gonzaga. They have they're in the low 80s right now, right? Like 85th. They play at BYU on this Thursday, and to me, that's a huge game because if they can win, whether you're and another thing is BYU is not far away either, so that's like a fucking playoff game. BYU's 80th, so you have two teams squaring off trying to get into the bubble field, and the winner of that game. And there's this going throughout all of college basketball's landscape. That's just one quick example.
Yeah. Three more. I have mid majors for you. Charleston at Drexel on Thursday, February 2nd. The Dragons, they're coming off a tough loss against Elon. They're 6-4 in the conference. They've been feisty as well. Charleston, another loss there wouldn't be great for their at large argument. Towson at Hofstra. They're both tied for second in the Colonial. That's an amazing
Love that
game.
matchup. Yeah.
And then last one on my sheet, Tennessee Martin and SIU Edwardsville. Both of them kind of been at the top of the standings for the Ohio Valley. That would be a huge game as well.
And we got you covered with all those ones each and every night because we're the motherfucking college basketball experience. All right. And that's what we do. We pick games every night and Noah Bieniek sits there and he makes sense of it all. All right. He makes sense of it all. Folks, subscribe to the College Basketball Experience. And remember, check out the College Football Experience. ACC just dropped their schedule. We'll have an episode out talking about the Atlantic Coast Conference schedule. And I believe tomorrow the Big 12 drops their schedule. So we'll be covering it all on the College Football Experience. And subscribe to the College Baseball Experience. Noah's already doing work. He texted me saying, dude, this is the year East Carolina's going to win it all in college baseball. I appreciate that, but we got to prove it on the field first. Noah, I know you're excited, but it wouldn't be an episode without. I'm sorry, I'm getting carried away. Folks, also check out, give Noah a follow on Twitter at 77NB, as in New Balance, come on, Noah Bieniek or New Balance, one of the two. Then also check out all Ryan's work, the Ryan and Rush Show, the NFL Gambling Podcast. All right. Also check out the XFL Gambling Podcast. That season's right around the corner. All right. You'll hear me fucking hosting that thing, talking about a bunch of teams that probably won't exist in 6 weeks. All right. So come check that out. Money to be made, baby. And also check out the Sports Gambling Podcast. Super Bowl is right around the corner. We got you covered. And we'll be back in about an hour. Actually, we'll be back in like 26 minutes to talk college basketball. So
I'll be behind the scenes, just working the chat. SGPNU, come on out.
26 minutes. So stick around. We're going to have tomorrow's preview and picks for good old January 31st. Folks, until then, this is the College Basketball Experience. You better start thinking about yours, and we out of here.
Thank you. Well, this is a great way to get started, and I haven't even won all my kids yet. It's a great night to be a Tiger. I'm here with my
You guys are drinking gallon of gasoline so we can piss in your campfire. They're begging us. Please have a party. Feed us drink. Get us laid. Coaching, our coaching did a horrible job. The players did a horrible job. We got our asses kicked in the second half. It sucked.
Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off. That's how I feel. Damn sick and tired of getting out rebounded. 25 offensive rebounds. First time we block out, we get called for it. Damn block out.